the moment you avoid yourself without realizing it. People think procrastination is laziness, a lack of discipline, a lack of motivation, a lack of effort. But the truth is darker. He remembered a day he sat down to start something simple, a task he cared about, a goal he promised himself, a step he knew he needed. His hand hovered, his mind drifted, and something inside him pulled him away. Not boredom, not distraction, fear. Procrastination isn't avoidance of work. It's avoidance of the emotional consequences you imagine the work will bring. Failure, judgment, expectations, disappointment, responsibility, identity. The task isn't the enemy. The self you fear becoming is. Every tab you open, every notification you chase, every moment you drift isn't escape from effort. It's escape from the version of you you don't want to confront. If your chest tightened even slightly reading that, your mind already knows the truth. You're not lazy. You're protecting yourself from something you don't want to see.
Number 10. You procrastinate because the task threatens your identity. He once delayed a project not because it was hard, but because completing it meant proving something about who he was. Success isn't comforting. It demands consistency, growth, expectation, pressure. The mind procrastinates when a task feels like a verdict. If I fail, it confirms my fear. If I succeed, I must keep succeeding. This is identity risk avoidance, the subconscious instinct to protect your self-image by never testing it. As long as you don't try, you don't fail. As long as you don't begin, the truth about you stays unmeasured. Human trigger. Procrastination protects the ego from reality. Emotion shift. Recognition to unease. You didn't delay the task, you delayed the judgment.
Number 9. You delay because your brain fears the first step more than the whole journey. He once stared at the first sentence of something important, frozen, not by the size of the task, but by the weight of beginning. The first step defines direction, commits identity, breaks illusion, ends comfort. Your brain fears beginnings more than endings. This is threshold paralysis, the inability to cross the emotional doorway into effort. Human trigger. Starting feels dangerous because it kills the fantasy of an easier tomorrow. Emotion shift. Unease to doubt. You didn't avoid the work, you avoided the beginning.
Number 8. Your brain uses busy work to avoid the work that matters. He once did 10 small tasks to avoid one important one: cleaning, checking messages, organizing files, refreshing screens. He felt productive, but hollow. That hollow feeling was the truth. This is pseudo-productivity, the brain creating motion to avoid meaning. Meaningful work has emotional weight. Trivial work has emotional safety. Your mind chooses safety. Human trigger. Busy isn't progress, it's camouflage. Emotion shift. Doubt to suspicion. You weren't getting things done. You were hiding inside tasks that didn't matter.
Number 7. You procrastinate because you fear your own expectations. He once avoided a project that he privately believed could become great, and that belief terrified him. Greatness creates pressure. Pressure creates fear. Fear creates avoidance. This is expectation paralysis, the mind rejecting the burden of its own potential. Human trigger. The higher the dream, the heavier the first step. Emotion shift. Suspicion to alarm. You didn't avoid the task, you avoided the version of you who might not live up to it. Number 6. You delay because the task feels like a threat to your emotional stability. He once hesitated not because the task was difficult, but because he feared what it would reveal. Will I be disappointed? Will I embarrass myself? Will it expose something I've avoided? This is emotional risk aversion. Productivity is not neutral. It forces confrontation with insecurity, deficit, ability, truth. Human trigger. You're not avoiding work. You're avoiding emotional exposure. Emotion shift. Alarm to disbelief. You didn't freeze. You protected your inner balance. Number 5. Your brain chooses distraction because distraction never judges you. He once opened a tab to take a quick break and vanished into digital static. Not because the content was irresistible, but because distraction is forgiving. It doesn't evaluate you. It doesn't demand growth. It doesn't measure performance. This is avoidance soothing. Psychological self-medication via noise. Human trigger. Distraction feels safe because it cannot reject you. Emotion shift. Disbelief to tension. You didn't choose the distraction. You chose the absence of judgment. Number 4. You procrastinate because your brain is addicted to the relief of not doing it. He once postponed something difficult and felt an instant wave of relief. That relief was the addiction. Avoidance reduces tension immediately. The brain rewards that reduction, and the reward trains the behavior. This is negative reinforcement addiction. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because avoiding the task feels chemically better than facing it. Human trigger. Relief is more addictive than progress. Emotion shift. Tension to chill. You didn't choose comfort. You chose withdrawal. Number 3. You delay because you fear the loss of the future you fantasize about. He once dreamed of a life he wanted, but never took a step toward it, because taking a step means risking the fantasy. The future feels perfect only before you try. This is idealized self-protection, the instinct to protect the imagined self by never testing it. Human trigger. The life you want is easier to admire than to attempt. Emotion shift. Chill to collapse. You didn't avoid the task, you protected the fantasy. Number 2. You procrastinate because effort forces you to admit you care. Effort is vulnerability. Trying means risking hurt. He once avoided something, not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. Trying means admitting attachment. Attachment means risking loss. This is emotional exposure fear. Human trigger. Caring is scarier than failing. Emotion shift. Collapse to awareness. You didn't avoid the work. You avoided admitting it mattered to you. Number 1. Procrastination is self-sabotage because sabotage feels safer than hope. The darkest truth is that procrastination isn't about time at all. It's about protection. If you sabotage yourself, if you delay, avoid, withdraw, then failure was never your fault. You can blame the delay instead of the ability. This is protective self-sabotage.
the instinct to destroy your chances to protect your identity. It's not laziness, it's survival. Human trigger. Failure feels safer when you design it yourself. Emotion shift. Awareness to quiet shock. You didn't sabotage the task, you sabotaged the pain of finding out the truth. Procrastination isn't your enemy, it's your signal. If a task or a memory came to mind while reading this, you weren't recalling failure, you were recognizing fear. Procrastination isn't a flaw, it's a message. A whisper from the part of you that hides, defends, fears, protects, anticipates. Awareness breaks the loop. Not discipline, not guilt, not punishment, just awareness. If someone you care about is stuck in a cycle of avoidance, drift, guilt, self-sabotage, share this with them, not to judge them, not to lecture them, but to tell them that procrastination doesn't mean they're weak. It means they're hurting, and naming the hurt is the beginning of taking life back.